Hey, geeking to everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we are diving into a comprehensive guide on the top interview questions in Python for this year, 2023. Whether you are preparing for a job interview or simply looking to brush up on your Python skills, you come to the right place. Let's start. The question number 1. What are data types in Python? I think the best way how you can answer this question is like that. Data types in Python can be divided into two categories. First category is immutable data type, which included integer, float, string, tuple, frozen set, boolean, non-type. And second category is mutable data type, which included dictionary, set, list. Question number 2. What is the difference between is and equal operators? These operators might seem similar, but they serve distinct purposes. Let's check this out. Is operator checks if two variables refers to the same object in memory. The operator compares address links. Equal operator, on the other hand, compares the values of two variables. It checks if the content held by the variables is the same. On your screen, you can see example. There are two variables, variable A and variable B. Variable A refers to the list, and variable B refers to the list. And values, I mean lists, are same value. If we compare these variables using is operator, on the output you can see false, because these variables refers to the different location of the memory. And if we compare these variables using equal operator, on the output you can see true, because values of these variables are same. Question number 3. What is the difference between parameters and arguments in Python? I recommend you think of parameters as variables that are used in functions definition. They act as a placeholders for the values that the function expects to receive when it's called. Arguments, on another hand, are the actual values that I passed to a function when it's called. There is an example you can see on your screen, and we define a function greet where we pass two parameters, name and age. When we call this function, we pass two arguments, Alice and 30. In this example, name and age are parameters, and Alice and 30 are arguments. Question number 4. What exactly are args and quarks in Python, and how do they work? The args parameter allows a function to accept any numbers of positional arguments. It collects them into a tuple within the function. On the other hand, quarks lets a function accept any numbers of keyword arguments, which are then stored in a dictionary. You can see an example on your screen. So we define a one function named SUMNumbers, where we pass a parameter args. And when we call this function, you can see we pass some numbers. It's a positional arguments 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can pass more. On the output, you can see a result. And another example, when we use quarks, we define a function named printinfo, where we pass a parameter quarks. And when we call this function, we pass some arguments, key value pair, name Alice, age 30, city New York. Question number 5. What exactly are type annotations in Python? Type annotations in Python are a way to specify the data types of variables, function arguments, and function return values. You can see on your screen where we write an example where we define a function at numbers, where we pass two parameters, A and B, and we wrote annotations for these parameters. When you're gonna call this function, you can use integer arguments, and on the return value is going to be integer as well. The question number 6. What is a lambda function? Lambda function is an anonymous function, small one-line function that can have any numbers of arguments, but can only have one expression. On your screen, you can see an example of lambda function where we specify arguments a and b, and on the output, this function calculates the expression a plus b. So, on the output on this example, you can see number 3. Question number 7. What does the ternary operator work in Python? The ternary operator in Python provides a concise way to write conditional expressions. It follows the syntax: value of true if condition, else value if false. So how it works? First, the condition is evaluated. Second, if the condition is true, the value if true expression is evaluated and becomes the result of the entire ternary expression. 3. If the condition is false, the value if false expression is evaluated and becomes the result of the ternary expression. You can see an example on your screen. Question number 8. What are deep copy and shallow copy? What is the difference? So what is the shallow copy? A shallow copy creates a new object and inserts references to the objects in the original. Changes to nested objects affect both copies. So let's check an example. Firstly, we import module copy, and we have original list, which is a list of 2 values. These 2 values are nested list. Then we use a module copy to create a shallow copy of this list. Then we modify a nested list in the shallow copy, and on the output you can see that original list was changed as well. Deep copy. A deep copy creates an independent copy of all objects, including nested ones. Changes the copy don't affect the original. Let's check an example. So firstly, import module copy. We have same original list, which included 2 nested lists, and then we create a deep copy using module copy. Then we modify a nested list in the deep copy, and on the output of the print function, you see that original list was not changed. So question number 9. What is a virtual environment? Virtual environment allows you to create an isolated environment with its own Python interpreter and installed packages. This helps to keep your project dependencies separate from the system-wide Python installation and other projects, avoiding conflicts and ensuring that each project has its required packages available. Depends on what Python version you use. I recommend you to use different virtual environment. First one is a venv. You can use it with Python 3. It's a built-in module. If you use Python 2, venv is not available, but you can use virtual env. Virtual env is third-party module which you can install. So for Python 2, I recommend use virtual env. For Python 3, I recommend use venv. Question number 10. What is a big O notation? Big O notation is a concept used to describe how the performance of an algorithm scale as the input size increases. It provides a way to understand the efficiency of algorithms and how their execution time changes with large data. On the screen you can see big O notation for some data structure in Python. I recommend you to know big O notation for this data structure before interview. Question number 11. What is a hash table and collision and how to handle it? A hash table is a data structure that allows us to efficiently store and retrieve key value pairs. It does this using a special function called a hash function, which generates unique hash codes for each key. But what happens when 2 different keys produce the same hash code? Well, that's where collision comes into play. Collision occurs when multiple keys end up with the same hash value. And trust me, understanding collision handling is a key skill in mastering hash table. There are several collision handling techniques. First one is linear probing. In this method, when a collision occurs, the algorithm searches for the next empty slot by incrementing the index until an empty slot is found. Second one is quadratic probing. Similar to linear probing, by instead of incrementing by 1, it increments by quadratic function of the attempt number. Number 3. Double hashing. This approach uses a secondary hash function to calculate the step size for probing. If collision occurs, it applies the secondary hash function to find the next available slot. Number 4. Separate chaining. In this method, each slot in the hash table contains a linked list. When a collision occurs, the key value pair is appended to the linked list in that slot. Python's built-in dictionary type uses an open addressing approach with a combination of linear probing and double hashing. So next question, number 12. What is the class? And I have like short, simple answer. Class is a blueprint for creating objects. An object is a unique instance of a class. Question number 13. What is a self? Self is a link to certain object. In Python, it is a special parameter that is always the first parameter in the method definition of a class. It represents the instance of the class. For example, the specific object on which the method is being called. On your screen, you can see an example where we defined the class car, and then we created an object myCar of this class. In the background, when you call a method like myCar.showInfo, Python discretely passes myCar as the hidden self. Question number 14. What is a super? In Python, super is a built-in function used to call a method from the parent superclass. It is often used in the context of inheritance, when a class inherits from another class. For example, it's a subclass, and you want to invoke a method from the parent class while customizing or extending its behavior in the child class. It becomes particularly useful when you have multiple levels of inheritance, or when you want to override a method in the parent class while still executing the parent implementation. You can see an example on your screen where we define class animal and class dog. Class dog is a subclass of class animal, and you can see there is a method speak which extended in the dog class. The question number 15. How to implement method of object, method of class, and static method in Python, and their differences. In Python, you can implement 3 types of methods in class: instance method, class method, and static method. First one is the object method. An object method is a method that operates on the instance of the class. You can see the example on your screen. There is a simple, you created an object of the class, and then you use a method of this class by object. Second one, class method. A class method is a method that operates on the class itself, rather than on instances of the class. It takes the class as the first parameter, usually named CLS, and can be used to create class-specific behaviors. On your screen, you can see an example. And last one is a static method. A static method is the method that belongs to the class but doesn't access or modify class or instance attributes. It is a utility function that doesn't require the self or CLS parameter. You can see an example on your screen. In summary, object methods are used for working with instance-specific data. Class methods are used for class-level operations. And static methods are utility functions that don't depend on class or instance state. So it was the first part of this topic, Python interview question 2023. If you like it, don't forget to subscribe and like this video. So, see you on the next video. Ciao, ciao!